I mean, it's obviously a huge matchup. If Oklahoma loses, they're out of the college football playoff. If Alabama wins, Blaine, they have pretty much wrote their ticket to the college football playoff, and you're one win away from guaranteeing a spot in the SEC championship. But I don't think it's going to be that easy. One of the biggest matchups we have had all college football season. Alabama hosting Oklahoma in a game that has playoff implications. David Cone, former Michigan quarterback to my left, Blaine Crain, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver to my right. And Cone, we labeled the Oklahoma-Tennessee game a play-out game.
I got one for this one.
This one, to me, is a mixture of a play-in and a play-out. Because on one hand, and we'll get to the spread here but before you even answer this, Coney, but on one hand, you have Oklahoma, that if you have one more loss, you're out of the college football playoff, right? But if you're Alabama on the other side, and you get one more win, you look at the rest of their schedule. At worst, it is 10-2, which gets you in the playoff. But it really, if we're being honest, puts you one win away from automatically being in the SEC championship game to play Auburn. So it's like a play-in and a play-out game at the same time. Blaine, what is the spread on this?
2:30 at Bryant-Denny. John Mateer versus Ty Simpson. This game is going to feed families. This game opened up at -7.5 Alabama. It is sitting at -6.5. Alabama right now with the total opening at 45.5. This has got bet up a point. It is sitting at 46.5 with the money somewhat laying the under right now. Money line going off for Oklahoma at +195.
Coney, what's your feel on this?
Well, a phrase has already been coined for this game in my household, and that is return the favor. Because remember, Oklahoma kept Alabama out of the college football playoff a year ago with that loss that took place in Norman. And remember, that was Jalen Milroe threw 3 interceptions that game. Alabama couldn't run the football. Oklahoma ran for over 200 yards, kept Alabama out of the playoff. Now you're going to host Oklahoma in Tuscaloosa, and you have a chance to return the favor, not just keep things rolling where you're headed towards an SEC championship game appearance, but to knock the Sooners out of the college football playoff. What more would you want if you're the Alabama Crimson Tide?
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of talk, obviously, about John Mateer and Ty Simpson and this, that, or the other, but I'm looking at the defenses of both of these teams. That, to me, two of the best in the country. Alabama's playing better on defense right now than I think they may have the whole season when it comes down to it. I mean,
who's the better one-dimensional team?
That's, again,
right.
That's why
neither of these teams have been good at running the ball the entire year. But one guy, right, has 20 touchdowns and 1 interception, and the other guy has 8 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. And would it be crazy to tell you that guy with 8 touchdowns and 7 interceptions is John Mateer, who had a lot of people had winning the Heisman before the year started, and Ty Simpson's right now. Excuse me, Ty. Excuse me, I got your stats wrong, brother. It's 21 touchdowns and 1 interception right now.
Wife's name right.
So it's a battle of the one-dimensional team, and right now for me, the better one-dimensional team is Alabama.
For sure.
And they're at home. But if you're Oklahoma, you know, because I'm not seeing this game as a shootout. Like if Oklahoma is going to win this game, to me, it's going to have to be somewhat low scoring, low 20s, high teens. You know, we've seen this Alabama team stop making the detrimental, self-inflicted wounds and actually make plays in the end. But this Oklahoma team did go on the road and beat Tennessee to keep themselves alive. So this isn't the first time they've done it, but you're walking into a little bit of a different animal right now in knowing what is on the line. And to your point, David, knowing what Oklahoma took away from Alabama last year. I'm just trying to find, if you're an Oklahoma fan, I'm trying to find a way offensively outside of John Mateer pulling a Johnny Manziel that you're going to go in there and be able to score 28, 30 points.
And look, you can lean on that performance against Tennessee. That was a great road win for the Oklahoma Sooners. On the one-dimensional point, you know, Alabama has not run it well. We've been talking about it week in and week out, but they find ways to run it when it matters most at critical times, like that comeback win against South Carolina, finding ways to run the ball in the fourth quarter. Also, getting Ryan Williams involved in the run game and Jeremy Bernard and some of these guys on speed sweeps and reverses and things like that. They're finding creative ways ways to win, but mostly it's about Ty Simpson being efficient down the field that helps open up the little bit of run game that they are able. And also, they just haven't been put in a spot where they've needed to rush for 220 yards like some of their opponents have needed to do to even keep things close against them, like Georgia had a performance like that. Florida State beat them like that, right? Alabama couldn't run the ball that well. Florida State rushes for over 200 yards in that game. Very similar to what Oklahoma did a year ago to be able to win that. But to your point on Oklahoma with a nice win at Tennessee, I keep going back to the Red River game when they lost to Texas, because that loss was very similar to Alabama's loss to Oklahoma a year ago. John Mateer, 3 interceptions in that game. Yeah. You can't beat a lot of these really good teams when you turn the football over that much, and Alabama hasn't lost the turnover battle this season.
I wish there was a bet out there, like the over-under on the number of times we will have 3rd and 6 or more in this game. And again, a lot of these Alabama games have come down to who can make the play on 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 9, and it's been Ty Simpson. Go back to that Missouri game. The amount of 3rd and longs in clutch situations that Alabama was able to convert, that's been the difference. Blaine, if on the Oklahoma side defensively, going against Alabama, I mean, it's got to be, hey, stop the run and just make them keep doing it. I
mean, Oklahoma's one of the best in the nation, if not.
And they can get there with 4. That's the thing.
Sure, and stopping the run, right? I mean, you're averaging, giving up, I believe, 2.3 yards a carry right now. And look, if there's ever a guy who's going to be able to scheme up this Alabama offense and what Ryan Grubb wants to do, you would think that guy would be Brent Venables, right? Brent Venables is. It comes down to how do you attack Ty Simpson, right? And you have this conversation. Look, Alabama's not going to run for up 200 yards in this football game. So how is Brent in this Oklahoma defense going to approach the way to stop Ty Simpson? Because look, getting teams in 3rd and long is great. You want them to sit there. Alabama's been so good in 3rd and long this year. One, obviously, penalty standpoint, you can't beat yourself. And Alabama's turnover margin is the best in the country. You have to find a way to turn this Alabama team over. And I think you're Oklahoma. You need something to go right early, right? You need confidence early, whether it's a special teams play, whether it's a turnover, something like that. And the next thing is, to me, this is the game. These type of games are the reason you brought John Mateer to Oklahoma, right? He's supposed to be the difference in these type of football games. And look, I know he doesn't have the Avengers running around at receiver or running back, and their offensive line has not been fantastic this year, but he could be the difference, right? Not only through the air. Oklahoma's been one of the not been able to run the ball that well. They haven't been great through the air this year either. So John Mateer has to come out and be the difference. That's the only way I see Oklahoma winning, because I think Oklahoma defense is going to play well in this football game.
Well, to be the difference, though, it's just so tough. I mean, to sit here and be like, hey, he's got to be the difference, but it's not great at receiver. It's got a young, talented back in Blaylock. The offensive line's been, let's be honest, pretty shitty the whole season, and that's the 2nd straight year in a row. How, if you're John Mateer, can you be the difference then? Like, what is it? I'm just running around. Like, that's why I brought up Johnny Manziel. Like, I'm running around, making guys miss, launching one deep. I don't think Mike Evans is down there. I mean, I like Burks a lot, but to the point, if you're Oklahoma, do you say, all right, well, we're going to try and limit possessions in this game, or are we going to take shots down the field? Like, because if you can't run against an even box, and you can't make them heavy the box up to work those shots, your next move is to replace the run with that quick intermittent pass game that we talk about all the time, right? The nows, the bubbles, the hitches, the slants, things like that. Running your pick routes. As good as Oklahoma's defense is, I just don't know if a sit on my ball or take my ball home for the whole game approach is going to work. Yeah. Not for 4 quarters on the road in T-Town. I'm not seeing, because eventually Ty is going to get you. He's going to get you. You can shut him down for a little bit, this, that, or the other, but right when you think he's got him, oh no, Scooby-Doo episode, take the mask off. We would have got away with it.
It just feels like Ty is sitting on the sideline with his helmet off holding a red balloon.
Yeah.
Right? Sooner or later, he's going to find a way.
Guys, his holidays are basically here.
Yeah.
All right.
It's snowing.
It's snowing. That's right. Whether it's Thanksgiving, whether it's Christmas, whether it's something cool you celebrate I don't even know about, you need to make sure the meat game is proper. And that's why I'm a Good Ranchers subscriber.
Yes.
And why Good Ranchers is essential in all of our routines. 100% American meat from local farms and ranches, delivered straight to your door. Blaine, tell us, What do you think about Good Ranchers?
I think it's fantastic.
It is fantastic.
They bring it right to you.
You want to talk about the meat game?
Yeah, dog,
like from one moment to the next, there's steak at my door.
That's exactly right. Here's the deal. Check this out. You subscribe to any Good Ranchers box today and use code BOOSTER, you get an additional $100 off your first 3 orders, $40 off your first, $30 off your second, $30 off your third with our code, and free meat for life when you subscribe. So hit up goodranchers.com this holiday season, full of delicious meals. Again, use code BOOSTER, BOOSTER. That's goodranchers.com. Let's get back to the table and grub.
Well, again, we saw a quarterback in week 1, Thomas Castellanos, throw a perfect game against this defense, and they beat him by 2 touchdowns. Granted, they ran the ball for 230 yards in that game, and this gets me to the thing that I've been most impressed with, outside of what Ty Simpson has done with the ball down the field, watching Alabama on defense get better week in and week out, and a large part of that is they got guys healthy, right? You know, watching what LT Overton does week in and week out. London Simmons this past week against LSU made his presence known. That's where it's like, it was already going to be tough a couple weeks ago. Now I think it's even tougher for John Mateer to have the sort of performance that Thomas Castellanos was able to beat Alabama.
Well, if I'm Oklahoma, how much this can I do?
Well, that's the thing. And
like,
I think
how much this?
The defense has gotten better from Alabama. I think Walmack's got better from a play calling standpoint. Like, you go back to that Florida State game, everything was outside, beating him to the edge. There was a lot of double mug linebacker looks.
I think
from Alabama on defense.
Simplified it a little bit.
Right, and just let your guys go and play. You don't see that double mug look that much anymore from Alabama, and it's a good
Which helps them run fit better.
Sure, like Alabama can run sideline to sideline, but if you have 2 linebackers mugged up in the A,
well, you just create one level,
and that's what you saw in the Florida State game. So I think the Alabama defense has gotten better for sure, but I think the play calling and the scheme.
Well, and again, as the year goes, you get a feel, right, of in game, because some guys practice different than they play in the game. But then again, on the Oklahoma side, defensively, as we kind of bounce back and forth here, I think Oklahoma can rush for and get to Ty and get him down. I think Oklahoma's got guys that are twitchy and bendy enough to get him down. It's just the question is, again, I'll go back to it, and it's going to be the main thing. What do you do on 3rd and passing against Ty Simpson? And I'll say what I've said for the last 4 weeks on this. You've got to do a little bit of everything. Mm-hmm. Like, there's not saying you would live in a world of absolutes, but it can't be 70-30, one thing. I don't think it can be 60-40. I would rather, and this is what I said about LSU, show the same look pre-snap and do 9 different things off of it, then do 9 different things pre-snap and do the same thing, basically, after the ball is snapped. Because Ty is so good at reading in real time. There's some guys that can, just like batters in baseball, they make their mind up, they're going to swing at this pitch. Every once in a while, they'll hit one over the scoreboard and it looks amazing. But it's the guys that can adjust mid-at-bat that give you the most problems. And Ty Simpson is adjusting mid-at-bat. He's seeing it, he's understanding it, he's going. Like, that's why I think you've got to find a way to just mix it up so much from a look standpoint that he can't get in a rhythm.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I was most impressed with this past weekend is the way he responded after that strip sack fumble by Harold Perkins. You would think the guy who's leading the Heisman Trophy race, who's thrown 21 touchdowns and a single interception, like, hey, I can fumble the ball occasionally. You know, like, I'm not costing my team here. He's like, that was unacceptable. I have to respond. I have to be better. Holding himself to that sort of standard kind of gets my attention and says, man, this Alabama team really is poised to make a deep run here.
Well, I mean, when is Ty? Here's the thing, like, if you really go back and watch that Florida State game, Alabama's getting their ass beat so bad up front, they had to throw the ball that much. Like you had to do that. Ty still,
and he had a great first drive.
And that was a great first drive, and that was his first game ever as the starter with basically no experience. When has this man let that, like, he hadn't let him down yet?
I've never. It's been a while since I've seen a guy be able to repeatedly beat a team when the team knows what you're doing. Yeah. Everybody in the stadium at some point knows that Alabama is throwing the ball. The defense knows, the fans know, and Alabama finds ways to convert them.
And this is without Ryan
in obvious passing situations, right? And they still find a way. Oklahoma is more of a zone team, right, with their scheme. Their layered zone behind it. You know, do you come out and do you run more man? Do you run more man and do you bring pressure and then you flip it? You just have to be in the business of, and I agree with you, you have to mix up looks. If that's staying the same pre-snap and doing different things, that's fine. but Ty has been worse against man coverage this year than he did against zone. If you run a bunch of zone, they're going to kill you.
I guarantee you Brent Venables and them are watching film saying this exact same thing. Everybody goes in playing Alabama's offense saying, oh no, Ryan Williams. Oh no, Jeremy Bernard on the outside. You know who really keeps them going? It's Cuevas. It's the time. Watch how many times, even just to set up for a 3rd and short, or to get a drive started, Ty goes to Cuevas. And a lot of times he's not the primary guy. Like you want to take Ty out, limit Cuevas, right? And again, I'm not saying Jeremy can beat you, Ryan can beat you, I get it. But like you have got to find, he is the security blanket of Ty Simpson when you go back and really watch it. How important he is this offense.
How important is John Mateer in the run game going to be?
You've got to sell the bag.
If you're going to, you got to sell the bag. If you're going to be even, right? Technically, you're not even in the quarterback run game.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And that gets back to the Florida State loss. I mean, Castellanos in that game had like 16 carries. No other Florida State back had even more than 7. Forget double digits. He had 16 carries for like 80 yards or something combined with what he did through there. You got to have that performance.
And Blaylock's got to be your secondary guy. I would put Blaylock in the slot. I would come out and empty a bunch. Put Blaylock in the slot. I would start that motion. I would run power read. I would run speed sweep. I would have 3rd down and medium to 3rd down and short passes built off of that. Now, you could do it out of 11 personnel.
Sure.
Too. You don't have to do it out. It's still empty.
Yeah,
you put it tied into the hip. It's still empty. But that's what I would do if I was Oklahoma, because there has to be some semblance of a run game, or eventually they're going to just rip John Mateer's arms and legs off of him and beat him to death before the game's over.
Yeah, that would suck. Yeah, no one wants that.
It's a tough way to go out.
That'd be tough. Look, I think it's going to be a very interesting game. Like, it wouldn't blow my mind if Oklahoma won this football game.
Yeah.
Like,
nothing would blow my mind anymore, to be honest with you. Vandy's in the playoff hunt.
Yeah. Georgia Tech's right in the thick of things.
Atlas.
Who knows about that?
But no, we want to know what you think in the comments. Give us a prediction. Who wins? Alabama hosting Oklahoma, a mega matchup, a play-in, play-out game. David, how about that? Play-in and out game. In and out. God, now I'm hungry. We appreciate you guys and like the chances of me not being ready to watch this game tonight. We're going.